I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a breaking news alert. The New York State Court Judge Arthur Engoron, who issued a preliminary injunction at the request of the New York Attorney General's office, which provided for an independent monitor to be appointed and placed within the Trump Organization to monitor the Trump Organization's financial representations to third parties such as lenders, insurers, and taxing authorities based on a finding of continuing fraudulent conduct by the Trump Organization. Well, Judge Arthur Engoron just issued an order today regarding the roles and responsibilities of the independent monitor. And in this order that was issued today, Judge Engoron ordered the Trump Organization to immediately turn over financial documentation to the independent monitor. This order that was issued today has teeth. Judge Engoron is taking no nonsense from the Trump Organization. So let me just explain what's happening here. The New York Attorney General's office filed a fraud lawsuit against Donald Trump and the Trump Organization. This is a civil lawsuit seeking at least $250 million for the Trump Organization and Trump and his adult children's fraudulent financial valuations that were given in the Statement of Financial Conditions to third parties like lenders and insurers and taxing authorities. Just for one example, the Trump Organization said that the triplex Trump lives in is 30,000 square feet and that it's valued at over $300 million when in fact it is valued at around $80 million based on the appraisal. There's a set of apartments that the Trump Organization owns, which was appraised at $750,000 because they're rent control. In the Statement of the Financial Condition, the Trump Organization said that those apartments were worth $50 million. There's countless examples where the Trump Organization inflated valuations by hundreds of millions of dollars. That's what Letitia James' lawsuit asserts. And so Letitia James, based on ongoing fraudulent conduct by the Trump Organization, New York Attorney General Letitia James brought a preliminary injunction, in essence, an emergency request to the judge. Look, the Trump Organization is engaged in ongoing criminal conduct. We need you to issue a preliminary injunction, Judge. And as part of the preliminary injunction, we need you to appoint an independent monitor, someone who will come in, who you appoint to the Trump Organization, and they will oversee the financial representations made by the Trump Organization to third parties like these lenders and insurers and taxing authorities, and someone who can look at the books, look at the Trump Organization's books, and also ensure that the Trump Organization is not engaging in fraudulent conveyances of assets to try to hide their assets by shifting their assets and shifting the money to organizations affiliated with the Trump Organization, but still controlled by the Trump Organization. And so the judge, Arthur Engoron, on November 3rd, granted the preliminary injunction request by the New York Attorney General, Letitia James. On November 14th, an independent monitor was appointed. That is retired federal judge Barbara Jones. So she was appointed on November 14th. November 3rd preliminary injunction order, or the order from November 3rd, set out a lot of the responsibilities of the independent monitor. But this order that was now issued today sets forth in additional details what this independent monitor is going to be doing. And Judge Arthur Engoron in this order made a number of immediate orders that the Trump Organization and Donald Trump must comply with, which I know Donald Trump is absolutely seething about. Trump tried to appeal the granting of this independent monitor, and that was previously rejected by the First Appellate Division. That is still potentially going to be appealed before a full panel. It will be appealed before a full panel, but nonetheless, this process right here of the independent monitor is not stayed. This is going on right now. So let's go through this order by Judge Arthur Engoron. And Judge Engoron says, On November 3rd, 2022, this court, upon the motion of the Attorney General, issued the preliminary injunction, which I just talked about. On November 14th, the court appointed Barbara Jones, retired federal judge, as the independent monitor. Then the court goes on to say, as set forth in the November 3rd order, the preliminary injunction order, which this order supplements, the duties of the monitor include, but will not be limited to, monitoring the following: the Trump Organization and Trump's submission of financial information to any accounting firm compiling 2022 Statement of Financial Conditions for Donald J. Trump, the submission of all financial disclosures to any persons or entities, including without limitation lenders, insurers, and taxing authorities, and 3, any corporate restructuring, disposition, or dissipation of any significant assets. The monitor's duty shall not include, though, monitoring normal day-to-day business operations. And then what the order says, though, is that the Trump Organization shall provide to Barbara Jones, Judge Jones, no more than 5 business days after her request, the following. So here Engoron is ordering the Trump Organization to turn over to the independent monitor after 5 days upon the independent monitor's request these documents: any financial statement, including any statement of financial condition or other asset valuation disclosure or other financial disclosure to any persons, entities, including without limitation lenders, insurers, or other financial institutions or taxing authorities, and 2, any non-privileged document, book, record, or other information bearing on any of the foregoing or reasonably necessary to assess the accuracy of any representation, and defendant shall comply with all reasonable requests by the independent monitor for such information. So basically, turn over all of your financial documentation to the independent monitor within 5 days of the independent monitor's request. But then it goes on to say, on or before November 30th, 2022, defendants, the Trump Organization and Trump's adult children, shall provide the monitor with a full and accurate description of the corporate structure of the Trump Organization, its subsidiaries, and all other affiliates, including all trusts and all of their significant liquid and illiquid assets. So provide a list of everything the Trump Organization owns, all of the subsidiaries, and all of its assets, things that Donald Trump absolutely wants to hide. And that's why I'm saying that this is completely devastating for Donald Trump, this order. And then it goes on to say, defendants are hereby ordered to provide the monitor at least 30 days in advance information about any planned or anticipated restructuring of the Trump Organization, its subsidiaries, all other affiliates, including trust or any of the plans for disposing, refinancing, or dissipating any significant Trump Organization asset. And in the absence of any such activity, defendants, the Trump Organization, shall provide the independent monitor, get this, a sworn statement, so a sworn affidavit under penalty of perjury, on a monthly basis that no such activities have been undertaken. And then it goes on to say that the monitor shall report the status of the monitorship to the court and the parties monthly, or as the monitor finds necessary, or as this court shall order, and the monitor shall immediately report to this court and the parties any unusual and or suspicious and or suspected or actual fraudulent activity. So this is an order with teeth. The Trump Organization, Donald Trump, needs to turn over records to the independent monitor that we know the Trump Organization is trying to hide. If the Trump Organization is contemplating any disposition of assets, if it's trying to liquidate any assets, it needs to provide that information immediately to the independent monitor or provide a sworn affidavit under penalty of perjury that it is not intending on doing that. And then it needs to provide a complete chart of the corporation, its structure, what it owns, the trusts, who owns what, and they need to provide that to the independent monitor by November 30th. Look, this order has teeth. And you know that Donald Trump is completely seething about it. And more bad news for Donald Trump on a related matter, if you want to call it that. Donald Trump filed a frivolous lawsuit a few weeks back when the independent monitor preliminary injunction order was granted, or right before it. And Trump filed a lawsuit against the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, in state court in Florida. And earlier today, the New York Attorney General's office removed the case to federal court in Florida. And so it was assigned to a federal judge. Look, this case is completely frivolous and baseless anyway. But guess what judge it was assigned to? It was assigned to Judge Donald Middlebrooks, the federal judge in the Southern District of Florida. And these cases get randomly assigned. And why is that great news for justice? Well, Judge Donald Middlebrooks just recently sanctioned Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, in the frivolous lawsuit that Trump brought for RICO, or racketeering claims, against 29 individuals back in March, which Judge Middlebrooks dismissed and said every allegation here is frivolous. That's the case where Trump sued like 29 people, including Hillary Clinton, for harming his reputation because of his relationships with Russia. The court said it's completely frivolous. The first lawsuit that was the first sanctions motion that was brought was granted, and that's not even the main sanctions motion that was brought. So Judge Middlebrooks granted a $50,000 sanction against Alina Habba, but there's still $1 million more in sanctions pending against Alina Habba in a motion that's been filed by Hillary Clinton and several other of the individuals who were sued, whose case got dismissed. So we'll be following that as well. But the lawsuit that Trump filed against the New York Attorney General to somehow, I guess, stop her from conducting discovery into Trump's revocable trust, with Trump's claimed jurisdiction lies in Florida, a completely frivolous and baseless suit. You can't file a lawsuit like that against the New York Attorney General for engaging in a civil lawsuit pursuant to the powers that the New York Attorney General has. But in any event, that case is before Judge Middlebrooks, who in an scathing order a week or two ago said that Donald Trump is filing these frivolous lawsuits, and he even contemplated referring Alina Habba to the state bar for disciplinary measures and potentially taking away her legal license if the disciplinary measures turn out to, if the disciplinary measures demonstrate that Alina Habba engaged in misconduct. So we will keep you updated there. But this order today by Judge Engoron has teeth, dated November 17th, 2022. This process is starting in earnest. Donald Trump better buckle up, because Judge Arthur Engoron means business. New York Attorney General Letitia James, who was just reelected, means business. The wheels of justice turn. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit the subscribe button right now. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to your support. So hit subscribe now. In addition, consider becoming a patron of the MeidasTouch Network by going to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. There's a number of subscription memberships to join there. We are not funded by any outside investors at all, so none of the millionaire or billionaire investors who fund the both sides media and the pro-fascist media, which has caused so much harm. I always get asked by you, what can we do to help grow this independent media platform? That's something that you can do wherever you are in the world. So check it out. Go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch, and check it out now. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.